Well, hello everyone. Right now we're going to have a quick look at adding, subtracting, heck, multiplying, and dividing integers. Well, first of all, just a really quick overview. An integer are these numbers like the ones you see right here on the number line. Um, Often we deal with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. But when we go backwards when we're counting, for example, when we talk about temperature, sometimes, at least in Canada and most of the world, who use Celsius, we go below 0. It gets pretty cold, but it's like -1, -2, -3. In the US, they tend to stay in Fahrenheit, so I think their freezing temperature is something like 32 degrees or something like that Fahrenheit. So they don't have to deal with these negative numbers as much. However, we definitely need to know about things called integers, and the stuff that you learn right here will lead to all kinds of cool stuff later when it comes to graphing and things like that. So we got to get comfortable with how to put these kind of integers together. We're going to talk about how to add them for three of these questions right here. Okay, so we have 4 plus -5. First of all, when you get a situation here, let me get my pen. Let's see, a yellow. Let's go with a red pen. Okay, when you get a plus and a minus sign together, I want you to remember that when you see two signs together, if they are opposite, if the signs are not the same, a plus and a minus sign, I want you to put a minus sign, okay? And if the signs are the same, for example, two plus signs, well, that's a plus. Or if you get two negative signs together, and I think you'll see that down below, that's also going to equal a positive, okay? So just remember that little rule. When the signs are different, you're going to get a negative, okay? Here we have a plus and a minus, and if you look over here, they're different, so we get a negative. So it's like saying 4. You don't need to keep the plus 4 in the front. By the way, this sign goes together with this 4. You don't need to keep it there. Just write 4. We assume that it's positive. Minus 5. Okay? Now, you could go on the number line here, and you could start at the 4 and go down 5. So 4 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You end up at -1. If it's 4 degrees outside, Celsius, and it goes down 5 degrees, we are now at -1 degrees Celsius. Okay? You could also take your calculator and let's get a basic calculator and go 4 minus 5. We get a -1, just to verify. Okay? Let's do the next question. We have -7 plus -3. Pretty strange, eh? Well, are these signs the same or are they different? They are different. So who wins? Well, the negative sign will win. So it's like saying -7 minus 3. -7 minus 3 is equal to what? Well, start at -7, which is way down here, and you're supposed to go down 3 more. 1, 2, 3. We're at -10. Okay? It's kind of interesting. Listen to me say this. -7 minus 3. It's funny why we don't say -7 minus 3. Often we say negative. We often say negative when a negative sign or a minus sign comes in the very beginning, okay? Or when we're just talking about this 7 here, we say it's a -7. It's not a -7 necessarily. Minus is what you do between two numbers, or you could say -7 subtract 3. I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there. The answer is -10. Shall we try doing that on our calculator? How do you type in a -7? Well, on this calculator, if you go -7, you could do that if you wanted to. The other option is to go 7 and then hit the plus or the minus sign. That creates a little negative sign in the front. And then don't hit the sign again. Go -3. And you should get -10. Okay? Next question. I'm going to keep erasing as we go. We have -8 plus +8. So it's like saying -8. Remember, when the signs are the same, when these two signs are the same, all we do is add. So -8 plus 8, what do we get? Well, -8 and +8 are opposite of each other. So just remember, -8 and +8. It's kind of like saying 8 minus 8. Your answer will be 0. Okay? You can verify that with a calculator if you like. Okay, let's move down to minus. Okay, we have a 1 minus negative 2. Look at the signs. Are they the same or are they different? That's right, they're the same. So we have to add. Okay, they become a plus. So 1 plus 2, wow, this suddenly became an easy answer. 1 plus 2 is 3. Let's just go to the next one. I'm not going to bother erasing. Look at the two signs. Are they the same or different? If they're the same, add. Negative 4 plus 3. Negative 4 is right here. Plus 3. 1, 2, 3. You end up at negative 1. You can verify that on your calculator if you like. Okay, last one. We got a negative and a positive sign here. Who wins when the signs are different? It's almost like you get this positive person who's with the negative person, and the negative person unfortunately makes the positive person down, feel negative. It's kind of sad. Anyway, negative 9 minus 8. This we can't really do on our number line because we're at negative 9 and we're supposed to go down 8 more. So if you want to, you can think about it in your head, or you can just take your calculator if you like. Go 9 with a negative sign, rhymes, minus 8, should get negative 17. And it's not really writing for me right now, I don't know why. Negative 17, there we go. Let's go to the next page. This is no longer adding or subtracting, folks. What is different about this? Do you notice that there's no sign right here? There's nothing in between them. It's just two brackets. Well, in math, two brackets side by side really means multiply. Okay? And as you get further and further along in math, we don't really use this sign. It looks like an X. We don't often use that for times anymore because things start to look a little complicated, and heck, later on you're going to be using X's for things called algebra or that type of thing. So basically they start to use brackets for multiply. The other thing they sometimes do, and I'll write it over here, sometimes they put a dot. 2 times, it's a dot right up here, not down here where a decimal is, but a dot right here. Negative 3. That also means times. Okay? Anyway, 2 times negative 3. The cool thing is here is you really just go 2 times 3, and most of you know your times tables, and you just go 2 times 3 is 6. But when it comes to the signs, we have a negative, and here, when there's nothing, that means it's positive. It's the same rule we were just talking about. If the signs are different, this one's plus and this one's minus, then the answer is going to be minus. Pretty cool, eh? It's the same kind of rule we were just talking about. Okay? So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. I'll prove it. 2 times 3, but it's a negative 3, is equal to negative 6. Okay? That wasn't so hard. Let's do the next one. Well, 2 times 3 we know is 6, but let's think about the sign. A negative and a negative, they're the same sign. When you have the same sign, it ends up being a positive 6 answer, or just write it as 6. You don't need to write the plus sign in the front. It's a little confusing when you do that, because it's so common just to write 6. If someone asks you your age, you don't say, I am plus 12. You would say, I am 12. Okay, the next one, 2 times 3. Well, it happens to be 6 again. What about the signs? This one's negative. This one over here is positive. Well, a negative and a positive, when you multiply, it's going to be a negative answer. Okay? And lastly, for these questions, they're trying to trick us. Just do one at a time. It doesn't really matter what order you go in, but I'm going to do these two first of all. Okay? 2 times negative 3, we already know, or sorry, negative 2 times 3, we already know is negative 6. So we have that. But don't forget, we're also supposed to multiply by negative 1. So negative 6 times negative 1. Well, 6 times 1 is 6. The signs are the same, so our answer is going to be positive. So negative 2 times 3 times negative 1 is positive 6. Hopefully you're catching on to this. The same rule applies for dividing. And let's see, do I have any questions for dividing here? I do. Good. Okay. So all you do is you go 32 divided by 4. Well, if you know your times tables, you can also divide. So 32 divided by 4. Well, I know 8 times 4 is 32. So it's going to be 8. 32 divided by 4 is 8. How about the signs? Same rule, folks. We have a negative here, and we have a negative here. The signs are the same, so this is a positive 8. I'm just going to write 8 as my answer. And the last question. When you see it like this is actually a division question because the top number, which is the numerator, just divide it by the bottom. And if we're lucky, it will work out to a nice whole number. It'll work out to a nice number without a decimal, is what I'm saying. So 28 divided by 7 is 4. And a negative and a positive, they are different. When you have a negative and a positive, you have a negative answer. Okay? Negative 4 is the answer. If you wanted to try it on your calculator, 28 divided by 7, but a negative 7, is negative 4. On fancier calculators, newer style calculators, you can literally type it in as you see it. You just write 28 divided by negative 7 equals, and you would get negative 4. So newer calculators make it a little bit easier, but the older style calculators like iPhones have and the cheap calculators that you don't spend much money on, they do it the way that I was just showing you. Okay? I hope you get it. It's a very quick video. Take care.